All right, everybody, so we have our final speaker of the night. I am so excited to introduce Emily O'Brien. And I have 3 fun facts about Emily as well. So number 1, she used to run away from school as an elementary student so that she could watch Much Music. She could have continued on that streak in high school. She also used to have Neo-Citrin for lunch in high school so that she could sleep through religion class. And last but not least, she stole the Wolf of Wall Street's presentation notes once and got him to autograph them. Very cool. Emily, come on up and share your fuck up.
Oh, thank you. How does this work? Oh, just the next button. Oh, thank you so much. So thank you so much for being here. I'm Emily O'Brien, CEO of Comeback Snacks. And where's my... Oh, there you are. We actually have a lot in common, except I went to prison. It's way classier than jail. But yeah, so my journey... oh, wait, one more thing before I get here. What's going on in the bathroom? Because I got there, the sinks wouldn't turn on. I had to use toilet water to clean my shirt. And then the sink turned on. There's a ghost in there. That was my first fuck up of the day, but anyway. Magical. So yeah, my journey started, here? Oh, okay. This is me before 2015. 2015 was, I was a fresh graduate, you know, I was graduated from the University of Guelph. So if anyone went to Guelph here, represent. Woo! Honor roll student, you know, always had good jobs. Graduated and was ready to kind of like go into the workforce. But that got cut off pretty quickly a couple years later because I ended up with a 4-year prison term. And you're wondering, like, how the hell does that even happen? Well, when I graduated university, we went through a difficult time as a family, to be honest. Holy crap. Wait. There? Oh, go closer. There he is. So, family fracture. I know that divorces happen all the time, a lot of the time. But I don't think it should matter how old you are if you're sad about them. And if you have a family that loves you and has loved each other and they see you in pain, there's nothing wrong with that. And this was one of the things that I experienced when my family was going through a divorce. It was a lot of pain and also a lot of external shaming from people that didn't even really know me. I don't know why I cared, but people that didn't even know me telling me that I was too old to be sad about it. Even some people within my own family told me I was too sad, or I shouldn't be sad about it, rather. But I was, and so I turned to substances, a lot of alcohol and a lot of cocaine. Was this a good fix? No. Would I take it back? Probably not either. Temporary escapes. I'd find myself in Trinity Bellwoods with a ukulele, pretending to know how to play it. You know, and I would just drink every day. Well, I was a high-functioning alcoholic, I guess, until I wasn't. And I began to like lock myself in my room, never leave. And I just wasn't the same person anymore. But that's when I met Mr. Wonderful. He's not in this, but he was super nice. He told me he wanted me to help me get sober, and, well, not sober, but like, you know, at least lay off a little bit, right? Like, and I trusted him. He actually worked with me for a bit, and then I started to see some weird things show up. Like, I had a social media company start in Toronto. Like, I just built a business. It was fun, and I liked it. And so I met him through work, but then he started like owing me all this money, and I just like brushed it off, you know? I just kept trusting that it would be paid back to me, and it wasn't. And then he's like, you know what, Emily, let's go on a little trip. You know, I want to get you out of here. Like, it'll be a lot of fun. We'll go to St. Lucia. And I'm like, okay. So we go, and 3 days in, he tells me that I have to get in the car with him, and we are there to work. We are not there for fun and games. You know why? Because we're bringing back some cocaine from St. Lucia. Yeah, and I had 3 days to figure out what the fuck I was gonna do, if anything. I told him I didn't want to do it. I was terrified, and I was a terrible liar, and this all came to the forefront after I was fitted with this drug smuggling outfit. It's like bike shorts, and you put like 1 kilo in the front, 1 kilo in the back. That was the worst job I'd ever done. I was so bad at it. Yeah, won't be putting that on my resume. So, yeah, I just go through the airport, and I know I'm getting busted. Like, my eyes are darting all over the place, and I was completely sober. So it was almost like I wanted my body language to show exactly what was going on, because I couldn't say a word. These weren't my drugs, and if I made a big scene, I would be the one responsible for losing them. So eventually we got called into secondary, and I got arrested. 2.5 years later, oh, this is St. Lucia, I forgot to change it, but this is me pretending to look excited. This is a staged photo after I found out that I was actually having to bring drugs back. And this is me. This is actually me after I pled guilty to a 4-year prison term. I knew that I could do something with this. I looked back on all my past accomplishments, all my past jobs, even like my current friends and all the people that had my back. You know, my family, they were there for me, but they also knew I had to quit the substances. Like, they were done with that. Because it wasn't the first time something like this had happened. Like, well, not like this was a big deal, but I definitely showed up to Christmas dinners wasted, and, you know, just, it was time to stop. And I knew that stopping would be part of my path to whatever was next, and that would be determining that I could do something with this whole experience. You know, my bail was $50,000. Luckily, we didn't actually have to pay that. You have to put up like part of your house. But if I didn't have my parents' support, I would still be in detention, right? So I had to look at all the support I had around me and be like, okay, what can I do? What can I change? I knew that I was a good person, and I just got mixed up in this fucked up situation. I have to take accountability for it. And that's kind of where the fire started. And when I got to prison, I realized how many other people in there were the exact same as me. They had drive, they had tenacity, they were humiliated, they were embarrassed, but they wanted to move on. And we knew that finding jobs, or like good ones at least, you know, like something that you can advance your career in, it was going to be really hard. Like, you can't get a job with a record, like many jobs you can't get with a record. And I kind of wanted to see if I could change that, and I didn't know how. But popcorn was a popular prison snack. Yeah, I've always loved popcorn. It's so good. And we would put like certain ingredients on it, like that we would find. Because in prison, you actually cook your own food. Yeah, it's not ghetto like jail. So you get to, because people are there for life, they have to provide people with, well, like there's all, like, people in there for murder. Like, I met like so many people from so many walks of life. And I also believe that justice is a part of wrongdoing. But that means you also have to be fed food that is food. So it had to become, it came from Canada's food guide. Like, they had to basically provide you with all these things. And so on that list, I don't know how spices got on there, but for some reason we had access to spices. And lemon, pepper, and dill was my favorite little combination to put on there. It turned out to be our first popcorn flavor. And I knew that I was going to take popcorn and create employment, not just for myself, so I could prove other people wrong, prove myself right, and start to make a difference and really help people that need second chances, including myself. And we've all been there. And I guess that's why we're in this room tonight, right? So, yeah, here we go. Next. I knew that I had something to fight for, and this is my mom. My mom was a big part of my journey. And I had caused deep cuts. These weren't scrapes that I had caused to my family. I knew that I had to fix things, and I had to work on this apology. Like, an apology is not something you say. An apology is something that you actually do. It's a process, and it takes a long time. And you might not even get the forgiveness that you want, but it's not up to you. But luckily I had a loving family to support me, and that was also one of my factors that was just like, oh my God, I'm gonna make them so fucking proud. They're gonna know that, they're gonna be like, oh my God, this is where you've been all along. We've missed you, right? Yeah, this is me. I mean, I always was a bit more rebellious. I don't know why I put this picture in, but I think it's just showing my born rebellious look. This is the pot. Well, this is actually not the prison pot, but this is the first pot that I got when I got out of prison. It was a whirly pop. Yeah, so there I was in the halfway house kitchen, popping away, one kernel at a time, literally. And then we got to commercial. We would work in like a commercial kitchen and, sell things. We had issues with shelf life, and so couldn't go into the big retailers. And then another fuck up happened. I knew that I wanted to share my story. And the first interview that I did, I'm not going to name the media company because whatever, but they came over to my house. They did the news. They did the interview. And I wanted to share this because I knew that I could help people just by being honest and open. And owning my shit. So they came over, they did the interview, and then and then it airs at 6 o'clock news. And they've pulled pictures of my friends without their permission from my social media. And so now I have friends that have worked in like government and who are now involved in some drug smuggling story. Yeah, it did not go over well. And I lost some of them, I did, and I was just so embarrassed that I just caused more pain and just trying to do something good. And it was pretty intimidating for a bit, but I was like, okay, now I know. And then that's how you learn how the media works. You have to make sure that you are working with, and this went to like millions of people, right? And people were like, oh, I saw you on the news, And then my friends were humiliated. And so was I. So that was the other fuck up. But I'll always make sure that you approve the use of photos, for sure. So comebacks next start to build. So after working with more media outlets and refining the story and really helping other inmates, including myself, like other inmates that were coming out of prison, I knew that I had something. I knew that we had something because every person showed up to work every day. I've never had anyone miss a shift. I've had people say I'm like their family to them. And that's really what makes me motivated, and it makes them motivated. And it was just every day I was seeing the belief that I always had was that everyone is capable of growth, change, and moving forward, but we just have to be given the chance. This is this is how I used to deliver boxes by hand in a U-Haul truck. So we've actually scaled now. We're in almost 700 stores. Yep. And this all started with popcorn kernels and stamps. Yep. I have a great business partner. His girlfriend Andrea is here tonight, so thank you for coming. Because I would not be there. I would not be there with every single person that's been a part of this journey, every single person that's shared the story, that's bought a bag of popcorn, that's shared the social media handles, that says how I've helped them. There are so many building blocks to this story, and that's what I think building a business is all about. It's actually about building a community. It's like a puzzle, and it keeps growing. And you really do need everyone on deck. And when you can give, you give as well. And so that's why we also work with a number of organizations that support people coming out of incarceration, because we can't do it ourselves. So coming back from any kind of setback, right? So it's tough. What's next? Oh, there's my business partner. There he is. So you can actually go, like you can be in the darkest place of your life. And I think it's in the dark that you can really learn to see. Because that's how I learned to see. And sometimes you just have to be alone in a room for a while, pissed off, mad, sad, and then you're like, fuck it, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I'm not going to feel like this anymore. I'm gonna get out of here. And so yeah, it's been a tremendously fun, exciting journey. I was just in Kitchener today, like with speaking with it's called another one called Disrupt HR. It's all about hiring the formerly incarcerated. And then prior to that, I was at this DHL thing. So my life is just wild and it's fun, and I get to meet so many people from so many walks of life, and it's great. And it all started from taking accountability after I fucked up. That's it. Oh yeah, and this is the closer. I might not own a property, because God forbid this city, but at least you can own this, so own your shit.
Awesome. Emily, your story is truly inspiring. Like it sounds cheesy, but It really is. It's amazing how you came out of that experience and just everything that you've accomplished and the difference that you're making with, changing people's minds about what it means to actually hire somebody who was formerly incarcerated and how beneficial it could be. So we do have time for a few questions for Emily. So just raise your hand if you have a question and we'll come to you.
Do you go or do I go?
No, it's
I go over here. Oh, hi. Oh, okay. I shouldn't be in the media, right? I'm like, okay.
Hi, Emily.
Oh, hi.
Hi. Thank you for sharing your story.
Of course.
That was wonderful, and thank you for being vulnerable.
Yeah.
And my question is, during your journey of building this, did you face any type of partners or, discrimination for, for the experience that you had? And the kind of stigma that you had?
Yeah, for sure. Anytime you put out like the first couple of press articles we did, like there's tons of like people being like, fuck yeah, lock her away forever, like classic like comments, right? Throw away the key. I began to find this funny. I was like, you know what? Like it was just motivating for me. Even when we get like a shitty comment we got this like horrifically mean comment like about one of our flavors 2 days ago, and I was just laughing. I was like, how can someone just put so much energy into being so mean? I don't, and still be alive. Like I don't get it. But you just have to kind of learn to laugh and find joy in laughter and everything. So I guess alongside that, there was actually, you pay higher premiums in business insurance for sure. I couldn't open up a bank account at a credit union because I had a record and I wanted to, right? So there's like definitely business things along the way. And not every partner is going to be for you, right? I mean, there are some people that are still very conservative, or there's people that have been victims of crime too, which it might be harder for them. Even though there are things like restorative justice and everything, you just can't force it. Well, you can't force anything, but the right partners, you'll find them through energy and through chance and fate, right? And it also happens by just like going out and meeting as many people as you can. So, yeah, no shortage of good people in this world and good projects going on. So, absolutely. Oh, hi, Rach.
Hi, Emily. It's so good to see you in person and to hear the story again after hearing it on my podcast initially. You're so inspiring, and I'm just curious, like now, when you move through challenging moments, like has this past experience helped you to move through current challenges? Like how do you move through it now? Is it as easy as being like, I got this because I already did this, or you're like, oh, fuck?
I find myself to be very calm all the time, like even in traffic, and I think that patience, yeah, that patience that I kind of developed over the years by waiting and learning what I can build by being patient, and finding, again, joy and laughter in those moments where you can only laugh, right? So yeah, I think it helped me for sure, and it might have taken 7 years, but that's okay.
Amazing story. I really just resonated, just like personal stories, family history, etc. When that happened to you, did it change your perspective on people in prison and like who you thought were in prison and then the people that were in prison? Because I grew up in a middle class family. Mm-hmm. My divorce happened very early on, and I was the youngest, and I had siblings that suffered like you quite early on, but went into your story and ended up falling into that factor, and really surprised me how they fell into that, and shocked me because I just presumed that it was like, oh, this doesn't happen to us.
Yeah.
And that's, I want to know, what did you learn in prison that is like, we're all the same.
Yeah.
We're all the same.
Yeah, and I also realized how lucky I was and how fortunate I was to have the family that I did have, right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely never woke up and was like, I'm going to go to prison one day. That's for sure. I mean, I watched Border Security, for Christ's sake. Like, and then I became that. I mean, it wasn't on film. Like, well, least on TV, but yeah. But it was, yeah, you think there is such this big divide, and it can really just be one bad week, one bad second. You can be driving and pick up your phone and you are a top executive and you can kill someone. And then all of a sudden you go from being a top executive at some big company to being a prisoner, right? So it's, I guess I really saw how fast it happened. And I'm just lucky that I'm still alive, so it's pretty good.
Oh, amazing. And
Yeah. Yeah.
What I want to say to you is that it crosses everything.
Yeah.
All races,
Yeah.
all everything. It just crosses everything, and that's why we all just need to just realize
Yeah.
that the people in prison are
Yeah.
not these enemies of our lives.
Yeah.
They're real people behind those doors.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are the face of that, and thank you.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate it. The end. Just kidding. The beginning.
Yeah, that was awesome. Great questions, everyone. I felt like that was sort of the perfect note to leave it on. Thank you again for sharing your story, Emily, and thanks for the awesome questions.